I call this meeting order, this regularly scheduled meeting of the KIPDA Board of Directors for Tuesday, November 25th at 11 a.m. in the beautiful Jeffersonian building. So glad to have you all here, and we'll start off with roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I get started, I want to thank Mayor Pike, Matt Munay, and the city of J-Town for letting us borrow this site. We've used it many times through the years, and it's just a perfect for our needs. So thank you again. Mr. Kevin Beatty. Here. Honorable Scott Bates. Here. Honorable John Black. Here. Honorable Bernard Bowling. Here. Honorable Byron Chapman. Honorable Jack Kaufman.
Here.
Mr. Jack Couch. Here. Honorable Troy Effington. See online, Mayor. Mr. Chris John Streets for the Honorable Jeff Gahan. Honorable Nicole George for the Honorable Craig Greenberg. She's here. She is here. Mr. Keith Griffey. Here. Mr. Cliff Shrimp for the Honorable Treva Hodges. Honorable John Park for the Honorable Dan Eisen. Honorable Maria Johnson. Mr. Andy Crouch for the Honorable Mike Moore. Honorable John Ogburn.
Here.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Matt Munay for the Honorable Carol Pike. Here. Honorable Jason Sharp. Honorable Jerry Summers. Here. Honorable Jim Travis. Here. Honorable Scott Travis.
Here.
Mr. Bo Glass for the Honorable David Vogel. Here. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, Jared. Here again, I want to welcome everyone here, those that are here physically, and thank those who are online with us today. And this is our last meeting of the year, and we hope everybody enjoyable. We'll try to move through it quickly so we can get to lunch. All right. So first thing up on our agenda is the approval of the October board meeting minutes. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to take a look at those, and it does require acceptance. So I need a motion to accept the minutes for October. So I have that motion. Motion.
Second.
Second. Any additions or corrections? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Those minutes are approved. Next is item number 5. And that is our October financial statements by Ms. Shaw.
Thank you. Okay, the document we're gonna be looking at is on page 35. We're looking at our actual to budget expenses for fiscal year 26, the summary of elements. So the CED spend is $269,050. And of course, our budget is the $2,857,048. And we spent 9.42% of our budget for CED. Then we have transportation. And the amount of our spend is $1,113,004. And our budget is $4,952,802. And we have 22.47% that we spent. Then we have Department of Social Services. And that's $14,233,238. And our budget is $38,508,721. And we spent 36.96%. And just to let you know, we are at 33% through the first of this fiscal year, so you can see what that difference is. And then the other operating is $8,436,000. And our budget is $232,985 for 3.62%. And our total spend so far is $15,732,124. And our budget for this year is $46,551,556. So in front of each of our graphs is the actual statements, but I'm going off the graph because they're easier. So the next page we're going to look at is page 42. Can y'all hear me back there? Okay, so we're going to the agency-wide actual to budget comparison. And that is on, like I said, on page 42. And our monthly amount is $5,311,527 in revenues. Year to date, we're at $16,254,521. And then we, of course, have our budget. And so we spent 34.92%, or not spent, but we have revenue of 34.92%. And then our expenses, we've spent 5 million for this month, 5,149,229. Our year-to-date is 15,732,124 for a spend of 33.8%. Next, we're going to go to page 46. And this is our balance sheet. We have total cash of 3,282,916 for 17%. Our total receivables are 3,226,61 for 17%. And our total other assets are 2,936,556 for 16%. And our total liabilities and projects are 9,449,296 for 50%. We have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Shaw. This is you have any questions?
No, sir.
Sure.
Very detailed, report. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Okay, then I entertain a motion to approve the October financial statements.
I will make the motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much, Ms. Shaw. Next, we have a representative from the Central Kentucky Recovery and Economic Development Project, Mr. Grant Meyer. There you go. There it is. Okay.
Morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
This is Lori Bayer. She's our Director of Workforce Pleasure Group. I'm Grant Meyer. I'm VP of Economic Development. Project Development, sorry. But I'm an economic developer and city planner. In my previous role, previous life, I've worked with local economic development and worked with development districts as well. So we really bring an economic development focus to our work. And Governor Fletcher brought us on to lead an ARC project several years ago, and we've been with them ever since. So we have a lot of experience here in Kentucky, and we're looking at a new opportunity here at Louisville. We want to talk to you all about it. Regular Louisville. So you may remember our boss, Governor Fletcher. He's a visionary and done a lot of great things around the Commonwealth. I know some of the judges here have been in contact with him the past year. So we started looking at an opportunity here, and it's kind of the counties surrounding Jefferson in Kentucky. And what it'll be is it'll kind of be a blend of economic development, healthcare, and housing. So like I said, we've done ARC work, we've done HRSA work, we've got a HRSA Center of Excellence that's nationwide, so we're bringing that expertise to this project. And that's really a rural focus. That's the reason we're out in kind of the areas around Jefferson County. And I'm also running the HUD Center of Excellence, which is nationwide as well, and that runs recovery housing initiatives across the country. So we're really involved in a variety of things right now. Been really busy, but we wanted to really look at your area. So back in March, we brought all the judges together. We had Judge Summers, Judge Travis, and then Judge Vogel was part of that, and then Deputy Judge Park. We also included some counties from Lincoln Trail, so primarily me, Judge Koch, and Hardin County was part of that as well. So really looking at these areas of high homelessness. I know y'all are all dealing with that issue, dealing with the industrial, job growth in those areas. So my expertise is really building the housing, Lori's expertise is really the workforce. And what we're looking at is a way to utilize the opioid settlement funds to build housing. I mean, kind of two key projects that would be workforce recovery housing. So it's post-treatment housing where folks come out of recovery. We've got a variety of training programs here in the greater Louisville area and beyond that. They would come into this housing. It'd be a way for them to stay in a sober environment, but it would also allow them to gain valuable job skills, be out in the, the industrial, healthcare, and trades primarily, those jobs. But there's a high need for folks, that can come in and really upskill and grow their careers. And then we're also looking at the county jail issue. I know that's another issue that came out of these work groups we've done this year. There's been just everybody's jail is overcrowded, just looking at ways to help, find collection, and collection groups working on an issue called Senate Bill 90 that helps bring folks out of county jails and into accountability and things like that. Lori, did you want to talk a little more about the workforce?
I just think probably an important piece of this, and we've mentioned the housing, that this is not just entry level, off the street kind of housing. This would be housing. That's one thing that we struggle with still. Is even though we have some great treatment programs across the state, we've got stable housing as an issue. Where can they go once they got that year under their belt of recovery? Where can you help them go that's safe and stable so they can continue on and engage in that workforce? So a lot of the work that I have done in Kentucky as well as other states is kind of match those employers to those long-term recovery housing type facilities. When an individual has gone through whatever the employer requires as their level of sobriety, we help get them upskilled. We work with the employer to identify training needs. We create training programs, but we make sure that we have the right person to place them in the jobs. We don't want it to be a cookie cutter program saying everyone that is going to work at this particular employer. We really want it to be meaningful for that individual because we know that that's what it's going to contribute to their sobriety moving forward. But we have found that a lot of folks are really interested in the jobs that are available in this area. They just need that stable place to go and maybe a little more upskilling to get them ready. And what we have found is the employers, once they kind of step into that fair chance hiring, we've done a lot of work with Kentucky Chamber around some of the trainings that they do for employers. We see that these individuals are better employees than what they're hiring on the street. So we can create a very robust pipeline from that population to those employers. And it gives the individuals the stability they need to get through that first 3 months, 6 months, or a year of post-treatment sobriety, so they can save to have a house, they can save to have a car, where we're continuing to support them and do the wraparound services that they need from that workforce development housing. But I think the best way maybe, and something you all may be familiar with, I don't know if you're familiar with Taylor Main Farms and Stable Recovery in Lexington, was an equine program that kind of came out of desperation. So we helped with that program, helped start that program back in the day because the equine industry could not find individuals to work and keep those farms alive. And so what we have seen with that Stable Recovery is the housing component. Taylor Main School of Horsemanship does the training, and the success of that program is just phenomenal. I think they have like an 80% completion rate, and they're still sober a year or two even after they move on to jobs on other farms. So that's the kind of model we're looking at. Is not just giving them new skills connected to the player, but this is a real handoff into that workforce and working with those employers makes sense.
We really want to tap into that underutilized adult age population that's sitting on the sidelines right now. It's a great workforce development opportunity sitting right under our nose. So thank you, Cory. This is the region we're looking at right now. This is, it could expand if other counties want to be a part of it. We're also emphasizing that we're, although Jefferson's not like looking at Jefferson for housing, we are running one of the Jefferson County employers within contact Louisville Chamber and of course the Kentucky Chamber. Michael Ridden and Kentuckiana works and then talk with them. And so got a list of key partners here. But really our ask for today is we would like to, oh, here, one more thing, here's the other funds we want to bring in. Which would be leveraged as part of this, Fletcher Group likes to braid funding and all those good things, so get a couple of projects done. It's always a challenge and a work in progress, but that's what we're working at, kind of leveraging all of these programs. So our ask today is, we really wanted to ask the board, one, if you would support us doing an application in conjunction with KIPDA, to go for $1 million grant in, through the Kentucky Opioid Abatement Commission. That's out of the Attorney General's office. Be $1 million grant, that covers the 2-year. And what that would really be designed to do is to get kind of a pilot staffing agency on the building that would be connecting, the recovery providers, providing a staffing, staffing entity. We've got a consultant we'd be working with to get that going. It would connect with some key employers that need folks in these jobs. So we take the risk off the employer, lower that cost upfront, that risk upfront, but ensure that they have someone there. In conjunction with that would be the housing piece. That's really a piece. So that would be working on the separate funds I just mentioned. Be working toward construction of that. And then the other ask would be, would the KIPDA board support being the fiduciary on future local opioid funds that local governments may want to pool as part of this? So we don't have any commitments at this point. We just need to set up a fiduciary to make that better. So those are our two asks today. Jared, did that cover everything?
That does. I think it covers, and I just wanted to also offer it up to questions. We have the next agenda item to ask for the approval if this is the direction you want to go. It's obviously a little bit out of our typical purview. It's a gap. I think speaking with Felicia, we've had the meetings with Grant and Lori and the former governor to discuss. It's something I think we can fill that gap. But before I agree to it, I want to be sure to present it to the board of directors to see if this was the direction you all wanted to head and it's something you all wanted us to serve in that capacity.
So if you get the $1 million and it's granted, who gets to use that money? The Fletcher Group, just at their discretion on what they want to use the million for, or what?
We would write the application structure around the staffing agency, so it would be, KIPDA would be the administrator, and it would go into the local counties here that I mentioned. So it'd be
To do what?
set up the staffing agency.
So basically it's gonna go for jobs within the agency?
It would be working with your local employers to bring jobs, create employment pathways for the people coming out of the recovery programs in the area. Beyond.
And then you feel that the opioid money could be eventually used, that counties and cities are getting for actual eventual housing to put these type of individuals in, correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, so the county money is more flexible. The state money has to go toward non-real estate type of service impacts. So that's the reason we kind of broke it into 2 phases. So the county money, we would look at using, a variety of sources. My experience shows tax credits, housing passed, but we look at that as a basis. I try to supplement that over the funds on the capital side or on operations. We haven't gotten that point yet. We're still looking for sites right now. So if anyone's got a good site, let us know about that.
I got a question. I'm in Henry County, so I'm out of your district, but, how do you sell anything to do with housing for addicts or anything like that to your community? Because if it comes up in our community, I'm telling you, they own it like ugly on an 8. They're against it 100%. But to me, it's so needed. So how do you sell that to the public?
And Henry could be in this if y'all want to. We just, we're not excluding any county that want to be part of this protocol. That other piece, I think you need the whole community involved, be really transparent about what it is, where it's going to be, what it's not. I think former industrial areas may work better. They're out of residential areas. We've got maybe an out parts of industrial park that's not useful for, anything else. Good location, but just clear communication with everyone and let them know what's coming and make sure everyone is on board with that. And also, there's a lot of negative stigma because there's bad outbreaks out there too. So no, it's, this is not gonna bring in, bad element. It's gonna be positively run and accountable. So.
I think a lot of people have an idea of just a sober living as a self-ran, like individuals in recovery, which works in some situations. This type of housing is gonna have a structure. It's still gonna have some treatment wrapped around, not at the level of that first year of recovery, but there's still accountability. There'll still be all of those services in place. So I think maybe, communicate that to the community. They understand this isn't just a place where people go and live and do as they please. There's still that accountability factor here.
Yeah, so for clarity, Jared, the funding that they're asking for is opioid money coming from the state, correct?
Yes, sir.
Not coming from KIPDA
No,
for
sir.
the counties,
From the settlement.
but it's
From
gonna
the
be used
opioid
for
settlement.
opioid settlement. But for staffing, I'm gonna use this as an example, in our mental health court and our drug court. You would be able to use that funding to get those graduates or those who are what I'm gonna say are in recovery or remediated out of those programs to find a job. Is that, Lori, is that
Yeah, I think
right?
that would definitely be the goal. Would be
Yes.
anyone who has, because at that level, we're ready for that career, not just a bridge job or
Right.
we're really looking for what is that career, this woman want.
Okay.
I think the housing would be open to people coming from anywhere where they have obtained the right type of recovery, prior to them coming. Because what we don't want to do is hurt them or leave a bad taste in the employer's mouth by bringing people too soon.
Sure.
I think we have to be very careful and vet individuals. But when an individual is ready for that opportunity, then their life is amazingly improved because they've been given that opportunity. So I don't think we would deny anyone access regardless of where they come from. We just need to make sure they're within the right space to be
Right.
there.
Yeah, I understand the housing aspect of it, what it comes in and what you end up when they come out. I just wasn't quite familiar with
Yep.
this end of it.
Yep, we work with individuals coming from all types of spaces.
Do you guys work with other agencies like Isaiah House?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we work with any type of recovery space, whether it's an RCO, an outpatient facility, a long-term residential, like Isaiah House. They have a lot of their own kind of employment going on there, and we have worked with them in the past, though. But then also all the wraparound services, so the City Grant and Job Centers and Goodwill and Volunteers of America and Kentucky Skills U. Those are all part of this, so they would all be other resources we'd be leveraging to support those individuals, so that 1 million wouldn't go to everything. It would be to create the framework and plug in all those wraparounds that we know would affect it.
After you spend the initial 1 million and opioid funds have run out, years to come, this program's gonna continue. Where are you gonna get funding after all this?
I think at that point, I mean, there's different ways of looking at it, and I think at that point, if we have, say, a 2-year pilot to work with some employers, they're already utilizing a staffing agency of some sort. Then maybe at this point, okay, we've been able to give them some employees, they've been satisfactory, or I expect them to be better, because we get great feedback, honestly. Then maybe we run it as a staffing agency where that employer then says, okay, well, I'm willing to pay a premium for you to continue to provide the wraparound for this individual, kind of what they're already doing, except at least for us. They have kind of the social services side on the back end to kind of take that off the plate. Because I think that's a lot of the hesitation. They don't know not that those individuals need a tremendous amount, because they don't. They're like me or you, and they just have a health issue, basically, at this point. But, having someone to provide that wraparound, I think is worth something to them. And that's what we have found with the employers we worked with so far. Is they're willing to pay that extra per diem for the service because they like the level of employees and vendors.
One more question.
Sure.
In Spencer County, it's hard for us to use our opioid money because of restrictions. We can't use it. We've got it. Would you guys partner with the counties and help the counties use their money?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely possible.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Got
Go ahead.
Travis on Zoom. Well, I have 2 or 3 questions actually. Okay, are you all very confident you're going to get awarded after the first of the year? What you're asking for? If you don't get awarded that, what is your plan? Last question is collectively, how much total monies from the counties are you hoping to get to make this thing successful in y'all's plans?
Judge, we're cautiously optimistic about getting funded. I mean, that's always at the discretion of the commission. I mean, I think we'll give it our best application. We do have a good track record of getting funded in things in the past. Due to due diligence and hard work. If that doesn't get funded, there are a number of other sources we can look at, or we can apply, to them again. As far as the counties go, I think that's just gonna depend on what our market studies come back on this real estate, like what it can support. We're gonna do a thorough, due diligence and market study to see what housing could be supported and, what the other groups like KHC can put in. We'll probably do an application through them to fund that, so. As much as the counties could put into it would be welcome, I think, but we haven't a firm number yet.
And,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
and just to be clear, you guys are not providing the wraparound services. You're the conduit to whatever providers you contract with.
Yes, we don't provide any treatment services, anything like that. We basically come into the community, kind of help them build that ecosystem. So that's kind of, I think, our area of expertise is that look at all the stakeholders of the community and say, okay, where are the resources? How do we blend these together, to kind of provide that picture? So, for example, any agencies that you have that are providing services, we would not step over them and also provide those services. We would go to them and say, hey, we would love for you to be a part of this project, and kind of see what everyone brings to the table. And then if there are gaps, then, we may have to look at, okay, how can we get these gaps filled? But what I have found is a lot of times in communities, all of the services are there. You just need to get everybody to the table and just kind of say, okay, how do we truly provide everything for this individual? We look at them as one person. And then usually there's very few gaps. And if there are, then, we do find workarounds. A lot of times for that. So we would use what currently exists and then enhance that as a result.
So just to make sure I understand, you're effectively a staffing agency that then is doing umbrella level coordination around whatever supports exist in the community.
Right, yes. I mean, we currently are not a staffing
That would be
agency.
the pilot.
That's a pilot. We would like to develop something like that. We would like to develop that in this area. We aren't a staffing agency at all, but that would be the goal of this, would be to have that staffing agency because only work with individuals in recovery or significant barriers to employment, because we do know that they do need access to those wraparound services. And so it just helps them to be more successful.
So I'm sorry, the service you are providing is what?
We come in as a kind of a community builder.
We're
So,
the economic, like I said earlier, we apply an economic development focus, so we're, I'm working on the real estate piece of building the housing. She's working on the workforce piece, which will actually be connecting with folks coming in the housing with the jobs that will help keep them employed and stable housing, stabilize your borders and area.
identifying the treatment providers, identifying the employers, working with them, working with your educational institutions, whether it's a tech center or KCTCS or whoever, if they need some sort of certification or industry recognized.
So you're a referral coordinator?
We do that type of work, yes. There were, not me specifically, but that's
I
what the
understand.
agency
This
itself.
proposals for referral coordination?
Not necessarily, there would be other pieces of that. Referral would obviously be a big piece of that. But then you also need someone who, or would need a model that supports the house itself. The program model of the house, so it's more than just referring to an outside source. But we absolutely would include all the outside sources because those are critical. And they've proven their effectiveness time and time again.
ARC came up with this concept of recovery ecosystem. There's really no one in the community to do it. So that's one thing that we took upon ourselves in Eastern Kentucky is developing these communities. So Lori's had a lot of experience like working, place people in the work. It's been a really great outcome of that whole idea of the ARC development. Got to do it this year called Rise. If we're gonna be working in 6 states with it, it's only ARC, so it's not covered in this area. It's gonna continue on that work as well. So we're going to job that.
Yes, Jared, we all need to look at expectations, what each leg of this school is going to carry. So that we know what expectations are for KIPDA, how much staff time will be dedicated to it, and is there funding pool already in place or part of this?
It would be part of this grant with the administration. That's something we've had the conversations. I still don't fully understand what our full responsibility would be. I think it would be look more towards the reporting side of it. Is that correct?
We'll probably write a lot of the grant, but I mean, we wanted to team up with KIPDA, just because they're the regional hub, they're all involved, them obviously, and just really needed, their expertise on administration and that piece and their credibility as a fiduciary. They'll, keep us accountable. And obviously we want to do something that is top notch and benefits the region. So try to, I'm sorry if it's a lot. We want to make sure you understand the scope of what.
And Jack, it's kind of fast moving. Our first conversations were really earlier this month. And then we have that deadline of next month. So this was the last opportunity with the board meetings in order to get this in front of the full board. So that's the reason I wanted them here today to present on it. But as far as their full role, that is something Felicia and I have been discussing and still need to hash out fully.
I got one more question. If we do this through KIPDA and the court finds that we have done something that's not legal with this opioid money, who's going to the woodshed? Is it gonna be y'all or is it gonna be us? I mean, really, because it's so vague what you can do with opioid money.
Make sure we consult with the attorneys before we do anything like that.
Well, I don't think the commission would grant you the money, anyway, unless your presentation to them would authorize you to spend this kind of money from the opioid settlement money. So you wouldn't get it anyway if they didn't grant it.
Yes, they
I
have to
wouldn't
read
think.
the application, Jess.
I think one of our roles as being the administrator is making sure we're following those guidelines, that we're not going anything outside of this great money's for.
I don't,
Go ahead.
I don't know if the board wants to approve it or not, but I think, we probably none of us know enough about what's gonna happen, honestly, but if, I don't know if you're gonna be coming in, I think we're different than Eastern Kentucky and what their needs are there versus what our needs are here. And I don't know if you're gonna run into other agencies already dealing in this kind of thing around our particular area. Maybe you will, but, just to help move matters along, I'll make a motion to grant those 2 items up there and, more power to you, jump out there and see what you can do. I don't, I'm sort of like Judge Bates. We have some treatment centers and I got ran out of office by allowing one to come in to the treatment center, much less put a housing project there, you know what I'm saying? So it's tough to try to get people to understand what this is about, even though I've seen some mighty nice cars pull up to the treatment center, that they're caught up in this too. So, whether I'll get a second to it or not, but I'll make the motion to move forward. On the first bullet point, second bullet point, I would agree to let KIPDA serve as the, person or group that oversees the actual financial needs and, wish you well.
And hopefully this work there, show the community of them that it can be successful. have the full continuum of care.
I'll second.
Look at a question.
Mayor Black's.
Is there-
We have a motion and a second, which
Yeah,
really
was-
pertains to item number
With
7.
with the comment, there's potential funding sources out there that you all have not mentioned. That as this thing develops, if this application is approved, that there's foundational grants. We know, everybody in this room knows it's a problem. There's a huge problem out there that needs to be addressed. So as we move forward, I know they will be looking at any source of funding out there to make sure this not only is good for 2 years, but beyond. So
Appreciate that.
Is there a deadline on your application or KIPDA?
The deadline, for this one with Kentucky abatement is December 3rd, 19. But, you know, we can, if the board's in favor, you know, we could look at, you know, with another one as well, if this doesn't work out. But I'm just saying, this is the official application. Right, because they've got money to be on the grounds.
Just to recap then, a motion and a second. We're kind of combining items 6 and 7. And, the motion pertains to item number 7. Item number 6 is the presentation. You all just presented to us. Item 7 is the action. We haven't heard Alicia on her thoughts on it yet. But, I don't know how you want to proceed, Gary. Want to proceed and entertain that motion, or do you want to hear from Felicia?
Lisa, is there anything you'd like to share?
No, I think this is a great regional project, and I think it's a great place to start. That at least it gives a conversation started between the communities that we know it's a problem. If we don't get awarded this great funding, we know that there's an interest, we can continue to look for more. But we haven't done a regional project like this in years, so I think it's a good step forward.
And I will say, I know that 2 counties on Lincoln Trail are included. I've spoken with the Lincoln Trail director and he was comfortable with us administering the project, even though it crosses regional lines.
Mr.
Chairman, add on to that, I, Grant, Judge Ison has had conversations with Governor Fletcher. We're very supportive of this idea, and I think it's a good idea to move.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
Scott Travis, I'd like to urge the passage of this. Number one, I have faith in KIPDA to look out for us. I also totally agree with Judge Bates on the concerns about the woodshed and so forth. But I think KIPDA will have our backs on it. And then also, as far as the local funds, it would be up to each of our fiscal courts. Basically, if we wanted to participate or not. So we do have another level of, another set of eyes to look at it and move forward. But I have faith in this project. I've been involved in these communications for probably about a year. And if this is a problem that we need to address, and if nothing else, like Felicia said, it'll get the awareness and get the conversation started. Anyone that don't think this is a problem has their eyes closed.
all right, any other questions? I just have one comment. I'm from Indiana. We've been dealing with the opioid settlement now for 3 years. Just a little quick history, the opioid settlement money is spread out over a period of about 18 years. I think we're into about the 3rd year of that distribution and everything. I think it's a good idea for working with KIPDA to be like an accountability partner. I want to give it a role of that, because I know that it takes a lot of documentation as you review requests. I do have one specific question. Is the Fletcher Group mostly going to want to be involved in the housing part of it? Or would you be involved in all types of reviews for requests for opioid settlement money, whether it's restricted or unrestricted funds? Because we only deal with it in Indiana mostly on get requests from mental health providers, health providers, and we run that all through our health departments. They review them and then they bring the recommendation to the county commissioners. And that's how the money's determined. And our county attorney is the one who has to be accountable and fill out the reports and everything. So I understand, I want to be clear that it's more than just housing. It's other needs that are needed to say, like, you have a group like Lifespan or something in your county who want to expand their treatment center, or they want to expand their facilities. Is that also would that also fall under what the Fletcher Group wants to do?
We've got some examples of projects worked in the past, these opioid settlement funds that I talked to you about, if you're interested afterward. I just don't want to hold up the meeting here. But we would go through, obviously, the judges and their county attorneys before we did anything. It would be up to them, obviously, for everything KIPDA. So yeah, check the counties, then check a KIPDA before we should think about it. So.
And that in response to your request, I think we're willing to look at the rest of what it's something we have. For substance use disorder, whether it's the expansion of treatment or what, we've had a lot of really unique and innovative applications that people have specific feedback or help them brainstorm around. So, in that aspect, we wanted to have a conversation with you and say, hey, let's identify where the greatest needs are and see how we can create a project that would meet those needs, utilize those funds.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. All right, any other questions? But we do have a motion on the floor from Mayor Black, Mr. Crouch, seconded. And this actually takes care of item 6 and 7, so it's mostly pertaining directly to item number 7. So we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? I want to make sure. Okay. If none, all those I'm sorry, I want to say this wrong. I need your help, Jerry. Basically, this is an application of project manager for the Central Kentucky Recovery and Development Project through both the local and state opioid abatement funds for our participation.
For KIPDA to be the project applicant as well as the fiduciary for the project.
Yes. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you all very much.
Thanks for your time.
Okay, so that takes care of items 6 and 7. Now we'll go ahead and see item number 8, the fiscal year 25 agency audit.
So
There you are, right there.
I was gonna say Gina Jones is from LBMC. She's our auditor and she's gonna be giving an update on the audit for fiscal year 25.
You want me to go up to the podium or?
You can stand up there and speak loud.
Okay, well, so just to, start out, we are still working on the audit, so it is not complete yet. So I'm gonna give you some brief numbers, but I'm gonna give you reasons why we're not complete. There was a couple new, governmental accounting standards that had to be implemented this year, so that kind of delayed us a little bit. And then also the, federal, awards that are received by the agency, we have to follow, the compliance supplement, and it has not been issued yet. And those are the guidelines that we have to follow. So we're not able to issue our report or complete our procedures until that comes out. And because of the government shutdown, they have not issued that yet, and they don't even have a timeline on when they think that is going to be issued. My thoughts are it might not even be until after the beginning of the year. But our hopes are that they'll issue it in December. Once that is issued, then we can finalize our procedures over the federal awards, which is the majority of the money that KIPDA receives each year. So we'll probably come in January. That's our hope to present the actual full audit. But did want to kind of give you some numbers. Total revenues for the year are 36.7 million compared to 31 million in 2024. So a $5 million increase. And the majority of that, really, like I said, is the grant income that comes from the federal government and from the state. And social services actually makes up the majority of that money, and that was actually up over 5 million as well. And then expenses for the year were 34.8 million compared to 30 million in 2024. So, and as you can see what Frida presented earlier, you know, we all had budgeted for a lot higher in revenues for 2026. And as you know, this was just presented, there's another grant coming, hoping to get money from the state. So, you know, as you continue to go and look for more opportunities, the revenues are going to go up. Cash at the end of fiscal 25 was 2.2 million versus 3.2 million in 2024. So down a little bit. And some of that is the receivables at the end of the year were up over $1 million as well. The grantor agency. So some of them are just slower to pay. So that's my report. I want to keep it short and sweet because I'm not going over the full numbers. But apologies that we didn't have it complete, but not out of my control for this year. Since the majority of the money comes from the federal government, we have to follow those guidelines. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to address those. Otherwise, I'll be back hopefully in January to give you a full report.
And I think, Jack, as you're aware, we have to do a little reporting by the end of the calendar year or their audit submitted to Dell. That communication's already been sent to our state partners. They're aware of the delay of the reason for it.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda, item number 9, the Transportation Policy Committee, Mr. Rush.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm here to report on today's Transportation Policy Committee. We met in this room at 9:30 this morning, and I will go over a brief summary of what we discussed at our meeting. We are very thankful that Judge Summers has volunteered and stepped up to be our 2026 chairman. So thank you very much for your service, and I want to thank this group, Commissioner Kaufman, for his service in 2025 to the TPC. We established a nominating committee that will meet at some point in December. Mr. Grisby, Mr. Beatty volunteered to be a part of that committee. And so we will be nominating a vice chairperson at January's. Brady Hill spoke for a while about the call for project that includes a multi-month tracking call for projects of Jefferson and Oldham counties. And so 21 million dollars in change of projects were awarded today. It was spread pretty well across the region, so that was fantastic. Spencer Williams and Elijah Blouse presented the what we're calling now the Transportation Environmental Area or Transportation Environmental Impact Areas. Previously, we have what are known as environmental justice areas. Environmental justice is something that's a hot button issue, and so the feds have required us to take a strong look at that and remove certain parts of that. Most notably, the race and minority portions of that. And so the environmental justice areas that KIPDA has utilized to prioritize projects, to prioritize locations of our meetings, for our partners, local public agency partners, for TARP to use over the years, to prioritize certain things. Those have been changed to these new areas. The new areas include, instead of taking minority status into account, still takes into account low income. It's single car households, disabilities, elderly adults. This one, no car households. Excuse me, no car households. So I think I got it up. So in other words, these areas will still exist. They'll be called a different name and be prioritizing a myriad of things instead of just low income and minority as they did last time, taking minority out of the equation. Greg Burch presented our new public participation plan update that gets updated every several years. That showcases as a document for the public to see how they can interact with the KIPDA Metropolitan Planning Organization, and shows how long we interact when we pursue a new tip, amendment of our tip, amendment of all changes to several of our documents. We awarded our kite award, more on that in a subsequent agenda item. And Chris Nicholas, she brought a couple items Notable to that is the next amendment schedule, amendment to our long range plan. Chris has that scheduled on the schedule for January's meeting. With that concludes that report.
Need a motion to accept the report from the Transportation Policy Committee. Do I have a motion? Second? Sorry. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? Motion carried. Okay, Andy, you got the data purchase.
I do. So periodically, more specifically than periodically, about every 4 years. Every 4 years, we update, KIPDA Metropolitan Planning Organization is required to update our long-range transportation plan, also known as the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. That requires quite a bit of data that we put into that. And over the last several iterations of that, we've purchased some big data from a company that's currently called Data Axle. They used to be called Info USA. So about every 4 years, we come to the board to ask approval of purchase of a new set of that data. You might ask, what is this data and why do we use it? This data is place of work employment data. Okay, a lot of census data, the American Community Survey data. It has a lot of information about where employees sometimes live. Right? How many people live that are in the workforce that live in one of our counties or live in one of our census tracts. But very, very little data, believe it or not, actually is out there for where do those people work? Where do people work? Not necessarily where do they live and where they work, not putting them together, but where do they work? So this is very detailed place of work employment data. For example, we'll get a series of, I think it's like 60,000 employers or whatever it is in the region. It'll show that 85 people work at KIPDA, 85 people work in, I think they put it in broad and narrow categories of employment type, just like it says how many people work at City Hall, how many people work at McDonald's down the street. So it is very detailed data. We use that data for our travel demand model. We use it for the projections that we do for our long range planning in terms as we look forward in terms of estimating how many people might work in those areas in the future. So this request today is for a purchase of Data Axle data. It's in the sum of $10,500, 9,200 of it, which would be the federal funds, $10,596.77. That will be split, not quite 80-20 federal, or because of the way KYTC matches our federal funds these days. It's a tougher equation. It's more like 80-85-15. So that's a good thing that they're matching more. But again, this request is to purchase Data Axle data, year 2025 place of work employment data. I'd be happy to answer any questions about that.
Any questions? If not, this does require action. So do I have a motion to approve the transportation data purchase?
Oh,
Motion? Second.
Is it purchasing something or it's already been purchased?
It has not been purchased.
That's not purchase.
It is not.
How much is it?
It's $10,596.
Yeah, a little bit over.
$6.
Item number 10.
That's dropping bucket. That's
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Andy. Now you're gonna give us a report on the kite award.
Yes, at the TPC meeting earlier today, I mentioned earlier in my report on the couple agenda items, we announced the winner of our 2025 Kentucky Indiana Transportation Excellence Award, otherwise known as the KIPE Award. And Greg Burris has produced a video for us, and I believe Paul or Jennifer will play that video for us here in a moment. It's a real good video, worth the wait, made a wait a little bit extra in the TPC meeting. But he got there and it was really worth the wait. So this time I'd like to ask Paul or Jennifer to play the video. Oh no, it's worth waiting for, I promise.
What?
It's just the.
Your call.
Audio's on. Everything's on.
Never worked the same in life.
Is it this one?
No, I mean, we're playing off a different computer, but we got no audio still. I don't know if it's there.
It's his mic picking up. You were picking up false mic. You can hear him talk.
Right. It's, I mean, you can hear it in there, but. Is it still on here? It's still on this computer?
Remember,
It's still on this computer?
Flash drive does.
You had to make an adjustment on this computer earlier.
Flash drive.
If it's still on here, we might be able to
up
disconnect.
to-
It won't, it's picking us up, it's not picking up the computer sound. So I'm gonna try to pick this out and
While they're trying to figure that out, I guess I'll mention the nominees this year. We had 3 nominees. One of them was the County Road 403, Stacy Road roundabout in Clark County. So for those that haven't been over there, it's been open right for a few months now. So it's a fantastic little roundabout over Stacy Road, between Sellersburg and Charlestown. We had the East Market Streetscape. That's East Market just in the New Lou area. That was one of the nominees as well. It's a very here we go. Greg described it very well on the video, so if we got sound, I'll let Greg go.
Oh, yeah, I'll share it now.
Probably not gonna be able to hear this at all, or anybody online probably will not be able to hear this, but at least for the ones in the room, they'll be able to hear it.
I thank Greg for putting that video together, and I want to congratulate Louisville Metro government. Mr. King took the trophy home with him. Okay, so I want to congratulate Louisville Metro in front of this body for their East Market Streetscape and their 2025 award. So, congratulations. If I might, Mr. Chairman, that all that footage was shot by Greg using the KIPDA owned drone. So if you've got good ideas in your communities that you might want to highlight some of your projects and you could get some good drone footage, feel free to let me or Greg know. We have to see what we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Next item up on our agenda is item number 12, CED Division Overview. Ms. Harper.
Good morning. So this is a set, year in review. Excuse my voice if I start coughing as well. So the SES division is presently administering over $386 million in ongoing projects, with another 61 million awaiting approval. To date, the KIPDA region has been awarded over 36 million in matching grant program funding to support and reduce the cost for vital community projects. We are also awaiting approval of more than $2 million in additional matching funds that will further expand these efforts. We are administering over 4 million in CDBG funds, 7 million in EDA funds, $500,000 in land and water, 10 million in line item grants, and currently completing over $73 million in cleaner water projects. Some of the CDBG applications that were awarded this year was the city of Eminence. They received over $500,000 for the wastewater treatment plant expansion. And the Haven Ministries received another grant through the recovery CDBG for $823,000 for the construction of a recovery center in the Portland neighborhood. We submitted applications on behalf of Trimble County, and they are submitting a CDB application for the Carroll County Memorial Hospital Clinic that will be located in Bedford. And we just submitted for Oldham County a pillar project. The pillar community, which was once known as Apple Pad, is looking to construct 72 affordable housing units for people with disabilities. So we're actually doing a CDBG application for the site work for that overall project. So hopefully those get awarded. Land and water so far this year, Trimble County Splash Pads has got the final approval from the federal government, as well as the city of Hillview. The city of Hillview, their park received exercise equipment, with a lot of those matching funds being covered by the grant program. We do have 3 applications submitted for the land and water. For the communities that have submitted those, they expect to have meetings in January where you can present your projects. And then once they choose those projects, it will get sent up to the National Park Service. So again, just make sure you remember that we are here. If you have a project in your community looking for funding, please reach out to me or one of my staff members. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Harper.
Thank you.
And then you also, you have the approval of the CED's annual update.
Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be requesting final approval of the 2025 annual update to the SED. So this is what we've been working on for the last few months. We have a SEDS committee. That means we had 3 meetings, and we also broke up into subcommittees to discuss each individual action plan goal. So with an annual update, that's really primarily used to update the data that we use for the SEDS. We'll have one more annual update next year, and then I think we'll go into another rewrite year where much of the substance of the SEDS could alter or change, but for this annual update and the annual update that will come next year, the primary purpose is to update the data that is used for that for the SEDS. And so we use the ACS 5-year census data. We also have data that comes from Bureau of Labor Statistics. And we also get data from the University of Kentucky, their SEDIC economic overviews. I think they're probably written now. But we get economic overviews from them. We use that. So the primary sections of the SED that are required, this is a requirement from the Economic Development Administration. The required sections are to have a summary background, SWOT analysis, action plan, and evaluation framework. The SWOT analysis, we did a survey, I guess 3 years ago, That's what we're still using, so SWOT analysis hasn't changed, it's still using survey results. But for that rewrite, 2 years, we'll do another survey, just to get that updated. The summary background, there's some data in there that was updated, but the substance hadn't really changed. Action plan goals similar, there's some data that we use, but the substance hasn't changed a whole lot, other than we had some language for the Louisville Economic Development Alliance to add some language in there, and things like that. There was a couple areas that when we updated the data, there was a little bit of a change, and these are really like primarily the only changes that happened this year was in the FEMA Disaster Risk Index, that identifies the biggest risks for the region as far as like natural disasters and things like that. So the risk index that they came to was for, you know, strong winds, tornado, earthquake, ice storm, cold wave, and that's both based on disasters that have happened and like the potential, does it like the how much devastation there could be if one happened. Like, we don't have the earthquake all the time, but if there was a severe one, what would the significance of that be? One of the notable things is that was kind of omitted was like flooding, but which is very strict. And so we wrote in a section of the sets to discuss flooding specifically, because it wasn't in that top 5, which is strange with FEMA data, gotta use it, but so we did that. And then also one of the changes in this annual update is the environmental justice language that was previously discussed that had to be removed to be compliant with federal guidelines. And so we'll look at adding in similar language, but adding some of that back if that's what the committee decides to do next year during the rewrite. So any other changes were largely like technical or corrective in nature. I will say there's a overview in your package, like a 1-pager. The full sets is online on our website under the sets tab. That's where the full sets lives. We have to submit this to the EDA by December 1st. So with holidays, that's basically like tomorrow. So, but you know, like I said, not a whole lot of changes, primarily updating data and things like that. And so, yeah, like I said, we'll have another annual update next year and then the full rewrite the year after that. So that's really all I got. I asked for full approval of the sets and permission to submit that to the EPA. I believe a resolution would have to be signed, so.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the annual update. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second? Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. All those like. Motion carried. Thank you all. Okay. Next item on our agenda is we have the fiscal year social services division of business.
Good afternoon. So the social services have been a little busy here lately. We do have a few contracts, and contract modifications that we're asking to be ratified the executive director's signature on. Their item, agenda item 14 on page 55 of your packet there. We're asking for to ratify the executive director's signature on the INU contract, which is the Dale contract, that focuses on suicide prevention. I did not include on here the NSIC contract, which is some field meals funding, a Title III contract modification, which also is a meals funding allocation of state funded meals, the meal program, and a state long-term care contract modification, which I believe they did change our award, even with that budget. Any questions about any of that?
You just want to go ahead and get a motion for those two?
Yes. This is ratifying, so I think I have to do it separately.
Ratification, okay.
Make the motion to approve it.
Do a second?
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried.
Thank you. The next thing we would like to do, we have some contract amendments that we would like to approve that will be for our providers. So the first round of those are Title III-C amendments. So we did receive state funded meals money to supplement our meals program along with the allocation for NSFU funds. So these numbers here are kind of like just back to our original budget to where the budget will sit as of December 1st and then for the rest of the year. These budgets take into consideration all actual expenditures for July, August, September, and October. We have projected November forward based on the fiscal accounts that we've set with the different providers. So to do that, we're asking to do an amendment for C1, meal services for meal preparation costs for Jewish Community Center of Louisville. It would be an increase of $7,788, bringing their total contract to $38,543. And to add additional funding, the master sends of $116,655.23, bringing their total budget for that service to $542,390. The budgets that the meal delivery providers currently have is what these are matched to. So it takes the meal preparation funding, so it takes these funds for the meals that they're already contracted to serve. For C2, we were, I'm not gonna spoil all Jessica's thunder, she gets to chip and give a whole update on the meals program. But with the additional funding that we were received through the state funded meals allocation, we were able to add as many participants back to our program that we could take it off. We're not 100% there. But these modifications are going to allocate all of that funding and give everybody what they need to get through the rest of the fiscal year. Anybody have any questions about those amendments? Okay, the next one is for Title III-B. We're requesting to do a contract amendment to do $12,160 worth of health promotion services to recreation services. The participants there just expressed desire for those types of activities. So I'd like to get that moved over for them. We also would like to do a contract amendment for the Metro Louisville Senior Nutrition Program. This is actually going to be an amendment to the FY 2025 contract to add $873.60 in funding for disaster awareness planning that they did last year, but it actually added to their budget. So, but if I have any questions about this contract amendment.
That also includes the University of Louisville.
I'm sorry, those are actually, it's a ratification. I apologize that I didn't do those earlier.
Okay.
So I'll need to do those separate.
Okay, so you want to do that one separate?
Yes.
Okay, so do you want to go ahead then, I mean, a motion then to approve the C1 meal services, the C2 delivered meal services, and also the Title III-B contract amendment and the Metro Louisville Senior Nutrition Program. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, I have a motion. The second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Now you got the University of Louisville award. And you have another contract,
Yes,
right?
So, I'd like to request approval or to ratify the executive director's signature on the University of Louisville Traeger Web Award. It's a geriatric work. Thank you. Management program. So this is
we're in the second year of a 5-year contract of this, on this one. They just recently sent it to us for FY 26, and totaling $10,000. And then also we can write about the executive director's signature on, vendor contracts with our KIPDA providers. These are the, registered nurses and occupational therapists who the president going out into their homes, for assessments and visits, to facilitate their people program.
Okay. So that's the University of Louisville, GWEP award and the vendor contracts, ratification of those. The motion to approve.
Okay, I'm a Arkansas fan, but, so I'll make a motion to approve University of Louisville. They come down to Arkansas December 3rd to play us. So hope they use this money to get down there somewhere.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion for the expenditure.
Okay. You have a second?
Second.
A second. Any other questions? If none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you very much. You got one more? I didn't see that one. I'm sorry.
So the next is financial management services. Agenda item 15, 57 of your packet. So from this, we are asking the board's approval to authorize the section of the finance MOU that intervenes the new business for financial management services.
Your motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. All right. Next, item number 15, fiscal year 26 FMS business.
She just did that one.
Okay, I'm sorry. I knew there was, I got these out of sync. Okay, gotcha. Now, item number 16, Title 3 C meals. Ms. Elkin.
I don't know what. I'm trying to say, but I want to, keep you all updated on our meal program. As you just heard, we did receive a delivery order for the state funded meal program, which was a little under $1.5 million, as well as a little over 200,000 in our visit funds, which should allow us to pretty much bring almost everyone that we were having to take off the program back on. There's really only a few people here and there we believe it's going to work itself out in the next month or so. Because there's people the program altogether. So that's really good news. We are meeting with a couple of providers. We're meeting with Metro on Monday, right? Yeah, just to discuss some details, but those people should start coming back on December 1st and get them back on for the Christmas holiday and moving forward to the end of June. Now, with that in mind, we've been asked to put together, Garrett, our executive director, has been working along with Casey Ellis, his last name right. I do always mess this up for some reason. I can't say in my head, but to demonstrate across the state our meal costs, and as some of you all know, we've spoken about it before. Meal costs vary from ad to ad. So we're really trying to get a very consistent number to present to legislators for that. So not only taking, we believe, it has to tell the whole story when we come up with our meal unit cost. And that is not only just the meal itself, but its raw ingredients, but the staffing it takes for implementation, the delivery that it takes, the advertising that it takes, the travel that it takes to do that. You can't just say I pay $5 fees for a meal when you have to add these additional costs. So we're really trying to dig in deep, work with all of the other ads and come up with a real solid number in order to do a couple of things. So one would be, what is the number that would sustain the numbers that we have right now? The other one would be, what is the number that we would do the ask for to bring on those on our wait list? And then you have to look a little bit further because we're talking about another 7 months out, by the time we get there, we're gonna have even more additional referrals coming in. So we really want to hit all angles of where we are to get a true number for legislators to consider in increasing the budget. So that we, can get the funding that we need to for the next 2 years. Are we anything out of that?
I think, like you said, we just want to give legislators a couple of options when they're developing the budget. One, to continue providing the service to those that we're serving. Then, as you said, the second is to provide the directive we have had since basically 2020 of not having a wait list. So everybody that calls to get a meal and what those dollars look like, which gets complicated because KIPDA, along with 5 other ads, are doing procurement after the first of the year. So our true meal costs aren't really known. So it's really a difficult task trying to come up with this ask, but it's something that we're really crunching numbers on right now.
Yeah. We're gonna have, thinking about increase there. No, none of these numbers are going to be higher than we have right now. But it's predicted and estimated as best we can using our brilliant minds and our finance teams to make that happen. I just want to give you an idea of we talked about waitlist in our region. For instance, since around October 6th, when we initially had to remove people from the program, we've added more than 100 referrals to our existing wait list. We're at over 400 right now, which is about 1/3 of what Metro served, right? Around about. So if you can imagine, if we brought those many people and it's just been referrals in the first half of this year, how far would you go? And we really have to think about what's that in number to. Where do we go with that? We're gonna do the very best we can.
Okay.
But if y'all have any questions about meals funding, putting people back on, any of that, I'm happy to. I'm happy to be in the position to be able to, I'm thankful that fund is name. I know Ms. George left, but thankful that Metro worked diligently on the rosters as well. I always want to say thank you for that, the local and the rural counties for doing everything they can to make sure those people are taken care of too. But we'll get back on track.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay. Thank you very much. Next up, item number 17, our November personnel report.
Real quickly, our new hire, we have Kristen Easton, who began work as a connector last week. We do have one departure, and that is one Miss Rachel Miller, who you all know. She is leaving us after 10 years at KIPDA on December 5th. There aren't enough good things to say about Rachel. We all adore her, and she has such a helpful spirit. She does so much behind the scenes that no one knows, whether it's board packets, logistics, minutes, processing bills, making labels, doing mailboxes, backing up with work. Rachel does it all, and she always does it with an eager spirit, a helpful spirit. So Rachel is leaving us to start a new chapter in Denver. So we will miss you, right? Stepping into Rachel's role is Ashley Zapp, who's sitting to Rachel's right. Ashley has been with KIPDA for a little over a year as a nutrition assessor in our meals program, who's done a wonderful job. She is moving into Rachel's position. Ashley has a really strong background in admin work. She's been training with Rachel 2, 3, 4 weeks. It's been a while. I don't know. 2, 3. Yeah. They work really well together, and Ashley is catching on so quickly. So with the transition, hopefully it will be pretty seamless. So Ashley, we're looking forward to working with you, and you guys will see a lot more of Ashley in the future. So welcome. Thank you, Ashley. Since I wrote this report, we actually have 2 additional departures, and they're here. So I want to recognize them in our transportation department. Elijah Lyles is leaving us in January to go work at Louisville Metro. Spencer Williams is also leaving us next month. He's starting a new chapter in Sacramento. So we wish you guys the best of luck. Wonderful colleagues, even better people. So go up to this. Okay, so We have a couple of vacancies. We have a connector position that we're really struggling to fill in Bullitt, Spencer, Shelby counties. We have an in-house connector position open as well, and as usual, our postings to be found on the website. And our staff count is 81 full-time permanent, 2 part-time permanent, 1 full-time temporary, and 1. So action is requested on that, and then I have lunch up.
Need a motion to accept the personnel report.
Make the motion, and very sad, won't hear from Rachel anymore, begging me to come to this meeting. You know, but she does an awesome job of outreach and trying to get us here, so. But maybe she can still call me from her other position she's gonna be.
Denver. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Now you have the longevity report.
So wanted to give a shout out to a handful of our colleagues. Randy Simon celebrated 40 years this year as a transfer agency number 3. Carla Alvis, 34 years as a case manager. Jennifer Waller, network administrator over there at 26 years. Zach Herzog, our GIS department manager, 24. And Paul Sindali, also over at the IT table, 22 years. Gina Kane, transportation at 21. Jared Haley, our executive director at 20. Susan Travis, social services admin assistant at 20. Veselina Romanoff, the social services planner at 19. J.R. Chisholm, also at 19, is with Paul and Jennifer in IT. And Rush, our transportation director at 19. Leah McDonald is our ADRC at 16. Alicia Russell, fiscal officer at 17, and Christy, case manager at 17. So tremendous accomplishments, and we're pretty close to it.
Okay, thank you. Item up is item number 19. It's on nominating committee. Mr. Beatty.
Thank you, Jack. As many of you know who have worked on the nominating committee, it's a very long, laborious, intensive process of going through resumes and interviews and all kinds of stuff. So I want to thank the distinguished Bernie Bowling for his assistance and the Honorable Jack Couch for his assistance. We have come up with a slate of candidates for the executive committee for 2026 and would like to present those to the board for approval. Chairman would be Judge Executive Jerry Summers from Bullitt County. Vice Chairman would be Judge Executive John Ogburn from Trimble County. Secretary Treasurer would be Deputy Mayor Nicole George from Mobile Metro. And the immediate past Chairman, Commissioner Jack Kaufman from Clark County. And I would like to make that motion for those in place.
No motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second? Any other questions? If none, all those in favor of the nominating committee's report signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Kevin. Next is the bank resolutions. Ms. Shaw, you have those for us?
Yes. So now that we know who's nominated for year 26, I would like to request that Mayor Chapman, Mr. Haley, and myself remain on as signers for the account. We're requesting that we remove Judge Bernie Bowling and add Nicole George as signers. We require 2 signatures, and so we will be completing and updating our information with Fifth Third. And I also would like the approval for Alicia Russ, our fiscal officer, to remain on the account for stop payments on checks.
Okay.
So moved.
You got a motion? Second? And a second? Any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Shaw. All right. Next is our intergovernmental reviews. I think we just have 2 of them here. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Need a motion to accept the 2 intergovernmental reviews, A and B. Motion? A second? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is Executive Director's report.
Thank you. And this is what we do annually without us having a board meeting in December, just any of the regular business. I would sign any of that, those kind of contracts that are typical business, and then bring it back for ratification in January. Anything that is out of the ordinary, I would work through the executive committee and then bring that back for ratification. So just authorization to serve in that capacity without a board meeting next month. Action is requested.
Motion, we have a second. Second, Ms. Bullen. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carried. And you still have your executive director's report.
Yes, sir. I'd like to recognize Deputy Judge John Park, who came here. John, you kept up your typical routine of showing up to the meetings and having a lot of resignations announced. So thank you for that. Also, we are joined by our friend Brian Blank. Brian, I think you're here somewhere. Is there anything you would like to share with the group?
Yeah, real quick, I know I'm between everyone at once. Even though the majority of deer season is over, there's still a need out there for meals, which everybody in this group certainly knows. That Hunters for the Hungry program is an awesome program. So if you can hunt, you get a friend to hunt, the relatives to hunt. Please encourage them to go back out and hunt smaller deer and run through the process to donate back to the program. So the suitcase for the folks that are struggling out there, the services that we help support. That program works really, really well. The second thing I have is if you need a break from all the holiday stuff and cooking turkeys and running around and thinking about Black Friday, tomorrow at Salado Wildlife Center in Frankfurt, we're having our 30-year celebration. And if you want to see something that's truly amazing, come over and watch our guys work with our 608-pound black bear. There's some other demonstrations and things, but if you want to bring the kids over, grandkids, or you want to go over and just take a break, come over and do that. That's tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's free to the public. The last thing I have is I want to thank you all because of this new role that I had this year. A number of you contributed, helped me understand my role and what I'm doing. I enjoyed seeing a bunch of you over at the KIPDA conference. Appreciate that. And so, Sarah, Mr. Chairman, thank you very much for your hospitality and education for me in this new role. And I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
I'd also like to recognize James Victory with Congressman Guthrie's office. James, anything you'd like to share?
Government is back in the next one. And that Congress is working on coming up are going to be the Refiner Act, which basically increases domestic refining capacity, still trying to drive down costs from the inputs. That's one to track. And then a big one you'll see coming through next week, whole slew of bill is around internet safety for youth and teenagers, trying to make that whole world just a little bit safer for them. But in the idea of was to have I'm thankful. Those people I want to shout out first, Rachel. Thanks for everything you've ever done. I don't know to say it here, but thanks so much. The second one, because they're not here anymore, I was gonna the congressman wanted to extend thanks to Mayor Greenberg's office for the work that they did just around just after the UPS planes match a couple weeks ago. We were involved with them and kind of got on the site very quickly and were assisted where we could. But the leadership in the mayor's office and Metro Rural Government showed in that strategy was amazing. But we also know that it extends past just Metro Rural Government because Judge Summers and some of the others said the firefighters and media. And that was just a great reaction from this community. But the second one that I wanted to share was with the staff, for the social services team and aging, that the work that you guys have done during the shutdown. And the scared calls that you were getting and the uncertainty that you were working under. But you guys showed great dignity and perseverance through all of that and still made sure that folks that needed to be taken care of were taken care of, despite, like I said, the uncertainty you were dealing with. So for myself, but more importantly for Congress, please understand, recognize the work you did, greatly appreciate for the work that you guys did. So, if any questions, that's the American.
Thank you, James. Just a couple other items. Last month, Cheryl had spoken on our initiative to consolidate office space with Andy and his division move into our main building. That move is complete. I'm happy to say it was a lot of disruption. So I really want to commend staff because they had to make a lot of sacrifices and there was certainly a lot of distractions over the last number of weeks. So, but I'm very happy to say that was done. And the gratitude can be shared for everybody across the agency, but especially for Cheryl and for Paul and Jennifer assuring that everything was set up for everybody to continue doing their work. Board Chairman, Jack Kaufman, thank you. I appreciate your dedication to the KIPDA board throughout the last year. Anything that we've needed, Jack has always been quick to answer the phone and really appreciate it. My thunder had already been kind of stolen, but Rachel, thank you. I've leaned very heavily on Rachel through the years and really appreciate all of the work that she has done. Thank you for your dedication, Rachel. Best of luck in your next chapter. And then we do not have our meetings next month, but we will get started back in January. The Regional Planning Council will be January 13th at 11 a.m. The Regional Water Management Council will be that afternoon at 1:30. The Transportation Technical Coordinating Committee will be January 14th at 1. And then our regular set of meetings will be the Transportation Policy Committee on January 22nd at 12:30, followed by the January Board of Directors meeting at 2. And if you all would look in your board packet, I included a schedule of meetings for 2026, just so you already hopefully go ahead and get those on your calendars. But otherwise, this concludes my report. I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving and a very Merry Christmas. And after we adjourn, Mr. Couch, if you wouldn't mind blessing our food, and then we can just move to the next room and have lunch.
On the shore, I appreciate all the board members, everything they've done throughout the year to help these committees. And for the KIPDA staff that do such a good job on making sure these programs are followed according to their needs and that they've reached out to the communities to help us all do it. Pray now, Father, your blessing upon this building for everyone's safe journey home. Christ's name.
You say about John Park, did you say he's resigning or what?
No, every time he comes, we seem to have a number of departures on our personnel report.
Motion to adjourn. Got a motion, got a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.